I want to share some ideas and some thoughts that I have in my heart right now. I'm going to draw your attention to a story. I'm going to take you back to the 1900s. Um, in the 1900s, there was a man. He had a farm, and he had a passion for gold. He wanted to um, become wealthy, and he sold his farm. He sold his farm to another man by the name of Colonel Suthers, and he had discovered before then that gold had been discovered in Southern California. And with the burning passion he had, he sold his farm. Colonel Suthers bought the farm for just a few $100s and moved in with his daughter. One evening, Colonel Suthers' daughter was out playing. Now, the farm was quite big, but running right down the center of the farm was a stream, a body of water. And they had created a mill. And as the daughter played in the sand, she suddenly put her hand in the sand, and she, unknown to her, she didn't realize what was happening. Now, she walked back into the house, and Colonel Suthers was in the house with his friend. The daughter walked close to the fireplace, and Colonel Suthers realized that his daughter's hands were glowing, like literally glowing like gold. Obviously worried, he rushed down, and he noticed that the more he looked at his daughter's hand, the more it glowed. It turned out that what was in her hands was gold. You see, the man who sold his farm in pursuit of gold didn't realize that on the same farm that he had lived for so many years was the largest gold reserve on the North American continent. He had sold his farm for a few $100s. Up until when Suthers Mill, because that's the name of the gold reserve or the gold mine, it was called Suthers Mill, up until it was shut down. In today's currency, it must have run into a few billions. That was the amount of money extracted from the gold from the same piece of land. Now, what was interesting is the man who sold his land or his farm went to Northern or Southern California and obviously didn't find gold, came back, but couldn't get close to his farm because there was so much protection in relation to security. It turned out that he didn't realize that his acres of diamonds was right where he was. And that's what I want to talk about in the next 10-15 minutes. I'm not going to be here for long. I had a few ideas and thoughts in my heart, and I wanted to share them. We always think that the grass is greener on the other side. The grass is just grass. The best lessons I've learned so far from life is all of us have been given gifts, talents, skills, abilities, and we have to simply look within to develop those skills and gifts and abilities. It's very similar to the famous parable of the talents. One person given 5, another given 2, another given 1, equally to their abilities. We all have greatness within. We all have the ability to achieve a level of greatness that the world has never seen. But we have to look within. It's not without. And so what I want to share with you is how you begin that journey of discovering that greatness within. I want to talk about education and show you how the education system plays a part in developing your greatness. There are 2 parts of what we learn formally from education. We call it academic and professional education. You learn how to read and how to write. Now, all of us have what we call 5 senses: sight, sound, touch, smell, taste. When we start learning, we are taught how to use our 5 senses. In many ways, The ancient writer says it's a blessing and it's also a curse. I believe that to an extent. But we learn how to read, and the best way we learn how to read is we have pictures. So a teacher might say this is an apple, and in the book you have a picture of an apple and you have the words or the letters. Formal education will get you a job, it will provide you with security, but it will stop you from reaching your highest potential, and it will keep you poor. There are two other parts of the education system that we don't learn formally, or that is not taught formally. The third is called personal development, and the fourth is called financial education. But I want to talk about the third because that's where greatness is found. The third deals with studying and learning about yourself. It deals with learning about life, life skills, how to set goals, how to manage time, how to develop your passion, your purpose, how to get along with people. It teaches you about emotions. But what I found is the best part of the personal development journey is simply that it teaches you about yourself. Now, there's one person you have to study, and that is you. You see, there's 7 billion people in the world today. I say this often, 7 billion people alive today. None of us is like you. None of the 7 billion is like me. We've had 107 billion people who have lived. They've journeyed through this life and they've gone. None of them was like you. Now, long after I'm gone and long after you're gone, we're going to have a few more billions. None of them will be like you. So you see, you were created, you were born unique. No one can laugh, no one can sing, no one can breathe, dream, no one can feel, no one can love like you. No one has the same fingerprints as you do. That means you are unique. Now, one of the biggest problems we have today is conformity. We are trying to behave like other people. Unfortunately, we fail to realize that we are originals. Most people don't understand us. Now, why do we try to conform? We conform because we're standing out, and we don't want to stand out. The problem is, you will stand out because there is no one like you. But most people give up who they are, trying to become a replica to other people. Now, my worry and my concern has always been, how can you be a good replica to something that has never existed? But also, how can people understand you when there's never been another like you? So the first thing you have to do if you want to become your best self is start studying yourself. I call that personal development. Sometimes I refer to it as just wisdom. The wise King Solomon said, in all you're getting, get understanding. He said, wisdom is the principal thing. Get understanding. Now, we've been given more talents and abilities to last more than 10 lifetimes. And the talents, skills, and abilities we have is life's gift to us. Now, you can call that whatever you choose to call it. Science calls it energy. Some people call it intelligence. Religion calls it God. I don't really care. I don't really mind what you use. But you have more skills and abilities than you can use in your lifetime. Your responsibility is to develop those gifts and serve those gifts to the world and create a change. By giving back your gifts back to the world, that is you, in your own way, you giving back to life. Now, in studying yourself through personal development, you begin by increasing your understanding. You begin by increasing your awareness. A lot of people say you just got to be in the right place at the right time. I don't agree with that because I believe you have to be the right person in the right place at the right time. But more importantly, you have to be aware where you are. Now, in coming to personal development, what are you trying to study? You're trying to understand a part of you that is not taught through formal education. You see, formal education will teach you about your 5 senses and how to use it. That's a part of your mental faculty. But there's another part of you called your higher faculties. There are 6 of them. And that is where all greatness, that is where all success, that is where all wealth can be found. The 6 faculties are imagination, intuition, perception, reason, memory, and will. I'm going to talk about some of them very briefly, but I'll say this as a covering statement. If you want to make a difference in your family life, in your personal life, in your community, if you want to make a difference to the world, if you want to make a dent in the world, you've got to develop and understand and learn how to use your higher faculties. In the I believe it was 1954, 1944, something in that region, it was universally believed that it was impossible to run a 4-minute mile. Impossible. As a matter of fact, they had done so many things. They would tie people to bulls, and they would make the bulls run as fast as they can. They would tie people to horses, and they would make the horses run as fast as they can to see if the human body could run a 4-minute mile. They would put people in front of maybe a running track, and they would release lions and get the lions to chase them down to see if they could run a 4-minute mile. And in 1954 or 1944, I'm not really sure, I can't remember, I don't really know which one, Roger Bannister came along. Roger Bannister came along and he broke the record. He ran the 4-minute mile in 3 minutes and 56 seconds. The question is, what changed? Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile simply because he created in his mind a picture using his imagination, and he achieved that goal first in his mind before he could do it physically. That's the use of the imagination. Walt Disney built Disney, and hundreds of thousands of people go every year to Florida to spend some time with their family in something that began in someone's mind. You see, everything you see in life, everything you see around you started as an idea, as a thought in someone's mind. Imagination creates reality. If you want to change your life, you've got to start using your imagination. So your imagination, in my opinion, I think is the fundamental key to success. It's the first key. You have to be able to dream and see a better life, a better future. You must believe that an idea that you have can create a difference for your generation or for your community. Now, the second higher faculty I want to talk about before I maybe slowly bring it to a conclusion is this. I want to talk about perhaps will. Steve Jobs was a remarkable inventor, but also a remarkable designer. He was more of a futurist, if you were to ask me to give him maybe a reference. I would say he was a futurist. I like something that he said. He said, a lot of people think focus means choosing an idea from a bunch of other ideas. He says, but that's not what focus means. He says, focus means eliminating a lot of ideas and staying fixed towards what you believe in, the vision you have. And he would go around on a daily basis and go up to his chief design officer. His name was John Ivey. And he would say to John, how many times today have you said no? That was how obsessed Steve Jobs was in relation to focus. Now, I define focus as flourish in one commitment until you're successful. In other words, you choose something, you have a burning desire, you have a burning passion to see that idea become a reality, and then you zoom away from every other possibility. Now, what I've found is that good ideas are often distractions. So it's not that you're keeping yourself away from distractions. Sometimes good ideas are distractions. If they take you away from the path of your vision, of your true purpose. And that's what we have to find. I believe we all have a purpose in life. Those who define and understand, discover their purpose and focus, completely focus. At the starting point, it might seem perhaps maybe a risk too far. It might not really seem as though you're making the right choice. But if you can find an idea, something you believe in it to the point where you're willing to give everything you have, what you find is that in a very unique way, nature and life starts to bring towards you all of the resources you need to make that idea a reality. So, as I draw this to a conclusion or a close, here is my point. Your acres of diamonds is not somewhere out there. Your acres of diamonds is not on the other side of the fence. The gold, the diamonds you want are all within you. The reason is because you have higher faculties, and those higher faculties can create anything you want in life. So if you want to change your life, I would say start by believing first that you're deserving of the life you want. Secondly, believe that you already have everything you need to become who you want to be. And with the two of them, now you have what it takes to go searching within. The great writer says, go into your closet and shut the door. In other words, go within, find somewhere quiet and listen to that still small voice within you. Now, I found from experience that the inner voice we have is always speaking, always. But we have so much distractions and noise around us that we can't hear. And part of the reason is because we haven't developed our higher faculties. One of those faculties is intuition. Intuition is your ability to sense, your ability to see and hear, but not with your natural senses, with what I call your inner senses. So if you can find a way to go within, listen to that still small voice within you, discover your purpose, discover your passion, and then focus, you'll find that you'll be successful. Now, that's all I'm going to share today. That's all I'm going to share now. I normally do a longer session if you've seen any of the videos I've done earlier on today or in the last few days. But I had an idea in my heart, and I thought perhaps I should come online and just perhaps provide some level of encouragement and support to anyone out there who is thinking that there's something they need. It's not a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness. It's not what you think you need. It's not what you think you don't have. It's really a result of your failure to see what's around you. Awareness. That's the key. You've got to be aware of where you are. You've got to be aware of who you are. Now, I hope that's been useful. That's all I'm going to share for now. I wish you the best of luck.